The unexpected proposal. Ambassador Tevin stood on the bridge of the starship Unity, gazing out at the alien fleet that loomed in the distance. The ships of the Galtac Confederation were sleek, metallic, and bristling with weapons, exactly what you'd expect from a species known for their military prowess. In stark contrast, the Unity was a marvel of human creativity, with its gleaming white hull, expansive solar sails, and an intricate network of energy shields that shimmered in the sunlight. It was a ship designed not for war, but for exploration and diplomacy. Tevin had been sent to negotiate with the Galtac, who had been making aggressive moves toward human territories for months. The tension between the two species had been growing, and many feared that war was inevitable. But Tevin was determined to find a peaceful solution, even if it meant playing a dangerous game. A calculated gamble. As the Galtac ships began to close in, Tevin's mind raced. He knew that the Galtac were arrogant, confident in their superiority. They saw humans as weak, a primitive species that had only recently entered the galactic stage. But Tevin also knew that this arrogance could be their downfall. He had a plan, one that relied on the element of surprise and the unique talents of the human crew. It was a risky gamble, but if it worked, it could turn the tide in humanity's favor. The offer. The Galtac leader, Commander Xark, appeared on the view screen, his expression one of disdain. "Ambassador Tevin," he sneered, "I hope you're not here to beg for mercy. Your species is no match for the Galtac. Surrender now, and perhaps we will spare your lives." Tevin smiled, a calm and measured response that seemed to catch Xark off guard. "Commander Xark, I understand your concerns. The Galtac are a formidable force, and we respect your strength. But I believe we can come to an agreement that benefits both our species." Xark's eyes narrowed. "What could you possibly offer that would interest us?" Tevin leaned forward, his voice steady. "A challenge, a test of wits and strategy. If we win, you agree to a truce and open negotiations for a peaceful resolution. If you win, we will surrender our territories without resistance." Xark laughed, a harsh and mocking sound. "You expect us to play games with you. This is a matter of war, not entertainment." Tevin remained unfazed. "It's more than just a game, Commander. It's a demonstration of our capabilities, a way to prove that we are not as weak as you believe. And if you are so confident in your superiority, what do you have to lose? The game begins." Xark considered the offer, his pride and curiosity battling within him. Finally, he nodded. "Very well, Ambassador. We accept your challenge. But know this, if you lose, your people will suffer greatly." Tevin nodded in return. "Agreed. Let the game begin." As the connection ended, Tevin turned to his crew. They were a diverse group, each chosen for their unique skills and talents. Dr. Lin, the ship's lead scientist, was an expert in astrophysics and quantum mechanics. Captain Harris was a master tactician, with a mind that could anticipate an enemy's moves before they even made them. Lieutenant Patel was a communication specialist, fluent in over a dozen alien languages. Together, they formed a team that was more than capable of outwitting the Galtac. Tevin knew that the stakes were high, but he also knew that this was humanity's best chance for survival. The game was on, and the outcome would determine the future of both species. The first move. The game had begun, and both sides were preparing for the first move. Tevin and his crew gathered in the strategy room, the atmosphere tense but focused. The Galtac had agreed to a series of challenges, each designed to test different aspects of strategy, intelligence, and adaptability. The winner of each challenge would gain an advantage in the next, with the ultimate goal of forcing the other side into a position of surrender. Tevin looked around the room at his team. "We need to stay one step ahead of them, at all times. The Galtac are formidable opponents, but they underestimate us. That's our greatest strength." Dr. Lin was the first to speak. "Their ships are fast and heavily armed, but they rely on brute force. We need to exploit their overconfidence and make them think they're winning, even when they're not. Captain Harris nodded in agreement. We'll need to be unpredictable. The Galtac expect us to fight on their terms, but we need to change the rules of the game. If we can keep them off balance, we can gain the upper hand. Lieutenant Patil added, I've been studying their communication patterns. The Galtac are a hierarchical species, and they rely heavily on their chain of command. If we can disrupt their communications, we can create confusion and force them to make mistakes. Tevin listened to his team's ideas, knowing that they were all crucial to the plan. The first challenge would be a simulated battle in a virtual environment, with both sides controlling fleets of ships in a mock engagement. It was a test of tactical skill and resource management, and Tevin knew that the Galtac would be looking to overpower them with sheer numbers. But Tevin had a different approach in mind: the trap. As the simulation began, Tevin and his team took control of their virtual fleet. The Galtac ships were fast and aggressive, immediately launching an all-out assault. But instead of meeting them head-on, Tevin ordered his fleet to retreat, luring the Galtac into a narrow asteroid field. The Galtac, eager for a quick victory, followed without hesitation. As they entered the asteroid field, their ships began to take damage from the debris, slowing them down and breaking their formation. Captain Harris seized the opportunity, launching a coordinated counterattack. The human ships, smaller and more maneuverable, weaved through the asteroids with ease, picking off the Galtac ships one by one. Within minutes, the tide of the battle had turned, and the Galtac were forced to retreat. Tevin watched as the Galtac ships withdrew, their pride wounded by the unexpected defeat. That's one for us, he said quietly, knowing that the real battle was just beginning. The aftermath. As the simulation ended, Tevin and his team gathered to review the results. They had won the first challenge, but they knew that the Galtac would be even more determined to win the next one. We need to keep them guessing, Tevin said. They'll be looking for patterns in our tactics, so we need to stay unpredictable. The next challenge will be even harder, but if we can outthink them, we can win this. The crew nodded in agreement, ready to face whatever came next. They knew that the stakes were high, but they were determined to prove that humanity was not to be underestimated. The deceptive maneuver. The Galtac were furious after their defeat in the first challenge. Commander Xark's pride had taken a hit, and he was determined to regain control. The second challenge was set to be a test of deception, with both sides tasked with infiltrating the other's defenses and planting false information. It was a game of spies and counterintelligence, and Sark believed that his people, with their superior technology and ruthless efficiency, would easily outmaneuver the humans. But Tevin had anticipated this. He knew that the Galtac would rely on their technology, believing it to be their greatest asset. And so, he devised a plan that would turn that very strength into a weakness. The bait. Tevin ordered his team to create a series of false data trails, leading the Galtac to believe that they had uncovered crucial information about human military operations. These data trails were carefully crafted to be convincing, but ultimately misleading, designed to lure the Galtac into a trap. As expected, the Galtac took the bait. They deployed their best hackers and spies, infiltrating the human systems and stealing the false information. Believing they had gained the upper hand, they began to act on the intelligence, making strategic decisions based on the misinformation they had obtained. The double cross. But Tevin had one more trick up his sleeve. Knowing that the Galtac would eventually realize they had been deceived, he had planted a second layer of false information, hidden within the first. This second layer was designed to be discovered only after the Galtac had committed to their plans, ensuring that they would be too deep into their strategy to change course. When the Galtac finally realized the extent of the deception, it was too late. They had moved their fleets into vulnerable positions, exposed to a counterattack that they were unprepared for. The humans, meanwhile, had used the time to fortify their defenses and prepare for the final assault. Tevin watched as the Galtac scrambled to recover, their once cohesive strategy falling apart under the weight of their own arrogance. "They're learning that it's not just about strength," he said quietly. "It's about adaptability, creativity, and the ability to think on your feet." The victory. The second challenge ended in another victory for the humans. The Galtac, humiliated and frustrated, were now on the defensive. Tevin and his team had proven that they were more than capable of outwitting their opponents, even when the odds seemed stacked against them. But Tevin knew that the hardest part was yet to come. The final challenge would be a test of endurance, a battle of attrition that would push both sides to their limits. And with the Galtac now fully aware of the humans' capabilities, they would stop at nothing to win. The endurance test. The final challenge was set, a marathon of tactical engagements designed to test the endurance and adaptability of both sides. It was a grueling contest that would push each team to their limits, requiring them to make quick decisions, manage resources efficiently, and adapt to constantly changing scenarios. The Galtac were confident that their superior numbers and advanced technology would give them the edge. But Tevin knew that this challenge was about more than just strength. It was about resilience, creativity, and the ability to think outside the box. The long game. As the challenge began, Tevin and his team took a calculated approach. Rather than trying to win every engagement, they focused on conserving their resources and wearing down the Galtac over time. They used hit-and-run tactics, striking quickly and then retreating before the Galtac could mount a full-scale counterattack. Captain Harris orchestrated the movements of the fleet with precision, anticipating the Galtac's moves and staying one step ahead. Dr. Lin used her knowledge of physics and engineering to devise unconventional strategies, exploiting weaknesses in the Galtac ships and turning the environment to their advantage. Lieutenant Patil maintained constant communication with the fleet, ensuring that everyone was on the same page and ready to adapt to any situation. The Galtac, meanwhile, were becoming increasingly frustrated. They were used to winning through sheer force, but the humans were proving to be a far more resilient and adaptable opponent than they had anticipated. The breaking point. As the challenge dragged on, the Galtac began to make mistakes. Their frustration and overconfidence led them to take unnecessary risks, exposing their ships to ambushes and traps set by the humans. Tevin and his team capitalized on every opportunity, slowly but surely wearing down the Galtac's fleet. Finally, after hours of relentless pressure, the Galtac reached their breaking point. Their ships were battered, their resources depleted, and their morale shattered. Commander Sark, once so confident in his superiority, was now faced with the harsh reality that his fleet was on the verge of collapse. Tevin saw the moment of weakness and seized it. He ordered a full-scale assault, launching every remaining ship in a coordinated attack on the Galtac's flagship. The Galtac, caught off guard and unable to mount a proper defense, were overwhelmed. One by one, their ships were destroyed or forced to surrender, until only the flagship remained. The final blow. Tevin opened a channel to the Galtac flagship, his voice calm but firm. "Commander Sark, it's over. Your fleet is defeated. Surrender now, and we can end this without further bloodshed." Sark's face appeared on the view screen, his expression a mix of anger and resignation. He knew that he had no other options. "Very well, Ambassador Tevin. We surrender." The human fleet erupted in cheers as the Galtac ships powered down their weapons and prepared to stand down. Tevin allowed himself a small smile, knowing that they had achieved something truly remarkable. The aftermath. With the Galtac defeated, negotiations began in earnest. Tevin and his team worked tirelessly to secure a lasting peace, one that would benefit both species and ensure that the conflict would not reignite. In the end, the Galtac were forced to acknowledge humanity's strength and resilience. They had been humbled, but they had also gained a new respect for their once underestimated opponents. Tevin returned to Earth a hero, hailed for his leadership and strategic brilliance. But he knew that the true credit belonged to his team, the men and women who had proven that humanity was a force to be reckoned with, not through brute strength, but through creativity, adaptability, and an unyielding will to survive. And as he stood before the United Nations, addressing the world in the aftermath of the conflict, he delivered a message that would resonate for generations to come. We are stronger together than we are alone. And when we stand united, there is no challenge we cannot overcome. The rebuilding phase. The aftermath of the conflict with the Galtac Confederation was a time of reflection and rebuilding. Humanity had emerged victorious, but the cost had been significant. The war had left scars on both sides, and now it was time to heal those wounds and lay the groundwork for a new era of interstellar relations. A fragile peace. As the negotiations between the Galtac and human representatives continued, tensions remained high. The Galtac, while acknowledging their defeat, were wary of the humans and their newfound strength. Tevin and his team had to work diligently to reassure them and build trust. The Galtac were not the only ones wary. Many humans were still grappling with the realities of war and the uncertain future that lay ahead. The conflict had demonstrated humanity's resilience, but it had also exposed vulnerabilities. Tevin knew that the rebuilding phase would be crucial in ensuring a lasting peace and avoiding future conflicts. Humanity's rebirth. Back on Earth, the focus was on recovery and reconstruction. Cities that had been damaged or destroyed were rebuilt with new technologies, designed to withstand future threats. The human economy was reinvigorated, and advancements in science and engineering, spurred by the conflict, began to bear fruit. Tevin's role extended beyond the battlefield. He became a prominent figure in the effort to strengthen human space exploration and diplomacy. His experience in the conflict provided valuable insights into how humanity could better prepare for future challenges and how to foster positive relations with alien species. A new era of diplomacy. As the human and Galtac representatives worked on finalizing a peace treaty, Tevin found himself at the center of a new diplomatic initiative. The treaty was more than just an end to hostilities. It was a framework for cooperation and mutual benefit. Both sides agreed to share knowledge, technology, and resources, paving the way for joint ventures and scientific collaborations. The Galtac, though initially reluctant, began to see the value in partnership. The humans had shown that they were not just a threat but potential allies with much to offer. Slowly, the two species began to work together, their interactions marked by a new sense of respect and understanding. The unexpected alliance. Months passed, and the alliance between humanity and the Galtac began to take shape. The two species started working together on ambitious projects, pushing the boundaries of science and technology. The once hostile relationship evolved into a partnership built on mutual respect and shared goals. Joint ventures. One of the most significant outcomes of the alliance was the establishment of a joint research facility on a neutral space station. The facility, known as Unity Station, became a hub for collaboration, where scientists from both species worked side by side on groundbreaking projects. From advanced propulsion systems to medical technologies, the fruits of their labor began to benefit both civilizations. The shared knowledge and resources helped accelerate progress in various fields. Humans learned from the Galtac's advanced technology, while the Galtac benefited from human innovation and creativity. The partnership proved that cooperation was not only possible, but highly beneficial. Cultural exchange. In addition to scientific collaboration, the alliance fostered cultural exchange. Programs were established to promote understanding and appreciation of each other's cultures. Human and Galtac artists, musicians, and writers began to collaborate, creating works that celebrated their shared experiences and newfound friendship. Cultural exchange programs also included educational initiatives, with students from both species studying together and learning about each other's histories and traditions. These programs helped to bridge gaps and build personal connections, further strengthening the bond between the two civilizations. Challenges and triumphs. Despite the progress, the new alliance faced challenges. Differences in values and customs occasionally led to misunderstandings, and there were moments of tension. However, Tevin and his team remained dedicated to overcoming these obstacles. They worked tirelessly to address conflicts and find solutions that respected both sides' interests. One particularly notable challenge arose when a faction within the Galtac attempted to sabotage the alliance, seeking to reignite hostilities. Tevin and his team, with the help of their Galtac counterparts, uncovered the plot and worked to neutralize the threat. Their swift and decisive actions not only preserved the peace, but also demonstrated the strength and unity of the alliance. A future of hope. As the years passed, the alliance between humanity and the Galtac flourished. The once adversarial relationship had transformed into a powerful partnership, setting a precedent for future interstellar diplomacy. A new legacy. Tevin, now a celebrated figure in both human and Galtac societies, continued to advocate for cooperation and peace. His leadership and vision had played a pivotal role in forging the alliance, and his efforts were recognized with numerous accolades and honors. The legacy of the conflict and the subsequent alliance served as a reminder of the power of determination, creativity, and collaboration. Humanity had proven itself not only capable of standing against formidable adversaries, but also of building bridges to create a brighter future. The journey ahead. With the foundation of the alliance firmly established, humanity and the Galtac looked toward the future with hope and optimism. New challenges awaited, but the experiences of the past had prepared them to face them together. The alliance continued to explore new frontiers, both in space and in their shared endeavors. Tevin and his team remained at the forefront of these efforts, guiding the way with their unwavering commitment to peace and progress. Their journey had shown that even in the face of great adversity, there was always the potential for growth, understanding, and a better tomorrow. As Tevin looked out from the bridge of the Unity, now a symbol of the enduring partnership between humanity and the Galtac, he felt a deep sense of pride and satisfaction. The future was bright, and the possibilities were endless. And so, the story of humanity's triumph over adversity and the creation of a lasting alliance with the Galtac became a beacon of hope for all who ventured into the stars, a testament to the power of unity and the boundless potential of collaboration.